So what is the difference between the Newton-Raphson algorithm used in statistics and the gradient descent method used in machine learning in order to estimate the parameters of your machine learning model or maybe the weight of your neural network? So in statistics, given a regression model, okay, by regression model I mean the linear regression model, the logistic regression model, the Cox proportional hazard model, the accelerated failure time model, okay, which are all examples of regression model, okay. We may decide to use the maximum likelihood estimation in order to estimate the parameters of the model. And the maximum likelihood estimation is just trying to answer the question, which values of your parameters are the most consistent with your data, okay? So we'll use a function that we call the likelihood function, okay? We apply the natural log in order to get the log likelihood function, take the derivative in order to get the score function, set the score function equals 0, and then find the solution of that equation. But what will happen in practice is that we may not be able to solve that equation analytically speaking, okay? In other words, we cannot always find, okay, there's no guarantee that we can find, okay, a closed form or a plug-in estimator for the parameter that you're trying to estimate. So instead of doing that, we'll use a numerical approximation method, which is where one of them is of the Newton-Raphson algorithm, for instance, which uses the inverse of the information matrix, or the product of the inverse of the information matrix and the score function in order to update the values of your parameters iteratively. So it means that you have to start with an initial value, okay? Now, when you look at the equation, okay, or the formula used for the gradient descent method in order to estimate, right, the weight of your neural network, for instance, you'll see that there are a lot of similarity between the two equations, right? In the sense that instead of using the product of the inverse of the information matrix and the score function, okay, in the Newton-Raphson algorithm, for the gradient descent method, we'll use instead of the product of the learning rate, right, and the score function. So this is basically the difference between the Newton-Raphson algorithm and the gradient descent method used in machine learning.